Hello and welcome to TRC Talks. My name is Wayne Brown, a member of TRC's Public Affairs and Outreach team. We wrap up our four-part series about the importance of building resilient sites with a look at what it means to create a culture of safety. Again with us is Parker Meeks, President of Infrastructure Sector, and Mike Glenn, Senior Vice President, National Safety Director. So we've discussed a lot of the processes and technology behind creating a safe workplace. But what about the people? I can imagine this can be a hard shift for companies from a cultural perspective. What do you think, Mike?
Well, absolutely, Wayne. I think, a corporation really has to stop and take a look at itself and what's important to them. We see a lot of companies list safety as their first value or part of their mission. But until you really get the leadership to engage with implementing a process and really communicating with employees and establishing that culture, it's going to be difficult. And we went through that challenge 10 or so years ago. We took a deep look at ourselves and decided, there's more that we need to do in this regard. So we got the executive team together and we invested in our strategy. We invested in people, we invested in time. We took a lot of time investing in training our people and spending time mentoring them on project sites. And then you start to see the cultural shift. And it's just amazing to see where we've come from and where we're at today. It's just awesome to see the progress what we've made.
So what are some of the challenges we're seeing in that regard, Mike?
Well, I think, it's typical challenges, right? You get some people that maybe don't want to buy into a process. And that's where, you start getting this brotherhood mentality where employees who have been part of the company for a period of time, who have understood and really value the importance of your safety process, can chime in and talk with that new employee out on a project site and give them some understanding as to what we're doing in relation to, utilizing your app on your phone to identify a safe catch is so important. And taking the time to identify and mitigate the risks minute by minute is something that is a value to the company and most importantly, will provide for a safer working environment. And we've seen that throughout our organization. And again, we talked about in these series, implementing technology to better communicate and better train our employees. It's made a big impact for sure.
Parker, what are some of the best ways for organizations to communicate these safety first messages to their employee base?
Wayne, I think first it starts with, having a message that is consistently communicated and applied across layers, starting with the very, very top. Mike and his team work well with Chris Vinci, our CEO, and the rest of the executive team to make sure that we're aligned on the direction that we're heading safety-wise, and including in this case to the COVID-19 response. And that message comes out from Mike, from Chris, from myself and my peers, and it's understood and communicated well by layers at each level, not just with one big blast communication going out, obviously, but with smaller group discussions and making sure that it's articulated well out to the field. Also with an open feedback channel coming back, which is where I think Mike and his team have done a really great job of opening up networks of safety coordinators across TRC, where it's not just a top-down message coming out from the senior ranks. It's something that's communicated, understood, and shaped, frankly, at multiple levels. And then all employees know they've got an opportunity to feed back up that message, make sure it's clear, and if they have an input to it, that we can shape that together.
Hey, just quickly, Parker, too, 10 years ago, we had 6 safety coordinators that we identified for the company. We've got over 100 safety coordinators today, and at different levels of the organization, all the way up to senior leadership positions, and then people who are new to the company that come in with a little bit of field safety experience. And it's just been a great collaboration. And again, that way to touch at different levels of the company has been a tremendous success.
Absolutely.
Mike, with that in mind, what are some of the strategies that you've seen work well in regards to cultural shifts around safety?
Well, I think I just touched on it with our network of people that we put together. And again, it's about leadership, and it's about leadership at all levels in the organization, starting with the CEO, understanding and sharing the message, and then working through your senior leaders of the organization. But really, it's about leadership out on these project sites where the real risks are inherent, and then having people have the confidence and the ability to take a pause and maybe tell a client that we need to stop work for a minute, to assess a certain situation and maybe approach it in a different direction. That's something that takes a little bit of time. And when you start establishing that culture, it gives people confidence to be empowered to get engaged. Then you start seeing real results.
Thank you. Any last comments about creating resilient sites? Either one of you.
Parker, if you want to go first.
Yeah, glad to, Mike. I mean, look, I think really it's about top to bottom. You know, it's more than just a procedure. It's more than even just, you know, technology. It really is a full commitment of, you know, understanding what it takes to mitigate a risk, to attack a risk, putting in place everything that we can to support the approach that we think is best, and tailoring that where we need to the specifics of a site. And then culturally, you know, leveraging the culture that we have and the open lines of communication to make sure that that commitment is understood as to why we're doing it, how we do it, and how we maintain it.
I think that's well said, Parker. I would only add that I think we utilize this new technology that we have to better communicate moving forward too, and it's certainly given us that opportunity to do so. But I think you summed it up pretty well.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. This has been a fascinating look at the process and importance of building resilient sites in this time of COVID-19 and beyond. Till next time, this is TRC Talks.